decision to transition to diving, I was in a place in gymnastics where I'd given it a real red hot go. And yeah, I was in the national team. I was in that Australian Institute of Sport group, but I wasn't enjoying it. The love for it had gone away. And yeah, so I thought I felt like, you know, I was ready to take on diving, and I was actually walked into my first training session having never done any diving before, willing to just take it on and do anything that I needed to do. You know, I literally said to myself, whatever my coach says, I'm just going to try and do exactly what he says. If he tells me, you know, to do this thing that I'm really scared of and to do this new dive, I'm just going to do it, because he knows more than about, you know, he knows much more about diving than I do. So I just said to myself, I'm just going to forget everything. I know nothing, and I'm just going to go into this really motivated and wanting to make it work. So to answer your question, I never really had doubts, or like, I never really wanted to go back to gymnastics at any point. As soon as I started diving, I was motivated to make it work, because I could see that I could potentially be okay at it. I had some sort of talent in the diving area. But then even after the first day, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. And I thought, yeah, you know, I want to get this going. I want to prove to people that I can actually make something of this.
Did you kind of find some similarities in the training process between the two sports that kind of helped you prepare yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in gymnastics, we're training basically every morning with exception of 1 or 2 mornings a week, and every afternoon with exception of the weekends. And it's very similar in diving. So in regards to the training routine and the training structure of morning session and then afternoon session, morning session, afternoon session, like that, I was really prepared for that, and I was ready. My body was really ready to handle that. And I think generally my strength was really good from being a gymnast. You know, you have to be strong. But in diving, so I just really, like, I had the strength and I had the skills to be okay. I just needed to work on the technique and work on the dives and keep at it and keep focused. So I think I was prepared to make it work. It was already in there for me to just do my best at it and give it my best shot. And that was my attitude. Just give it your best, and then you'll have no regrets.
Did you ever have the thought of fear and injuries? As in gymnastics, you're landing on a crash pad. In diving, you're landing in water, and you know, when you belly flop or land different wrong, it hurts a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I was always a little bit worried, and I didn't really I was worried about, you know, flopping and landing on my stomach or my back, and I didn't know the process. I didn't understand that, you know, when we'd go in, they'd start us off on 1 meter, and we'd do that like 1,000,000 times before we move up to 3 meter, and 1,000,000 times. And it's just, they just do this building block. So that by the time you get up to 10 meter, you're ready. But I was definitely a little bit worried about splatting and hurting myself. But at the same time, like, it didn't bother me too much, because I was always very fearless. And with gymnastics as well, I was always willing to throw it on the line and to give it a go and to try new things. And I was used to dealing with that fear and dealing with getting out of my comfort zone in order to handle that. And often what I say about my first year of diving is I say that year was just the year of firsts. Because what I mean by that, it was like my first time doing this dive and this dive and this dive, and the amount of dives that I did that was a first time doing that dive. And every time you do a new dive for the first time, it's scary. So it was like every day I was just getting out of my comfort zone and pushing myself and getting scared and just, you know, going. So yeah, it's always in the back of your mind, but I was very confident in the technique of the coaches and what they were helping me with, and everyone around me was diving and splatting here and there, and I thought, this is, you know, I'm in my element here. This is fine.
I think you kind of have to have that in, like, trying a new sport, have that fearless mindset, because if you do kind of get scared, it does affect your performance in a way. And especially in a sport like diving, where 1 millisecond can change the whole outcome of what
absolutely.
That dive. You talked about identity as a gymnastics. Do you now have that identity as you're a diver, or has it kind of been breaking the mold in a way where people view you more as Declan, not Declan the diver?
Yeah, I'd definitely like to think that, I mean, I don't know how people perceive me really, but I would like to think that people see me as Declan, as the human being, because that's what I'm really big on and passionate about. Just to tell you a little bit about my journey of how this all came about, I became a born again Christian myself. And at about, I think, 20 years old, I made that decision that I wanted to follow that lifestyle. And it was a big difference between when I was a party boy and, when I would train hard, but then I would play hard and things like that. But then, come 20 years old, I made this decision. I wanted to, God was the center of my life. And I said to myself, my identity doesn't come from any sport, any flips, any somersaults, any gymnastics. This is who I am. And I realized that I had value. I sort of always knew it in the back of my mind, but now what I realize is that my value was in the fact that I am a human being, and that I'm valuable because I am a human, rather than I'm valuable because of a performance, or I'm valuable because of what I do. And that's what I like to speak on as well, that it's so dangerous when people start to create their value and their identity based on how good they are at something, or based on their job, or based on what they do. Because as soon as performance goes down, then your mental health goes down, or your identity goes down, you feel sad. So it's really important to find that outlet of your own meaning and your own purpose and who you are, and cling to that. And I see that as the anchor that anchors you down, that when the winds and waves of life come and rock your boat, you've got that anchor there that'll keep you strong. So yeah, that's a bit of my story. And diving, I think diving is a very big part of my life. It's what I do every day. And when I'm at training, I work hard. I'm focused. I want to get better because I love it, and I've got goals and I want to achieve them. But once I finish my session, I let it go. I forget about it. I just drive home. I'm with family. I'm with my wife that night. Whatever happened, whether it was good or bad, just put it to the side and keep going. That's sort of my attitude, and that's my identity now. It's not in anything. It's just in who I am as a person.